and all. And I am aware that the nature is not too cooperative today with us. We have to reach home safely. So we want to cut down our program post lunch and we want to start directly with the valedictory function. And whatever our organizers had planned, that they are going to make small video clips of certain facilities. They are going to share on the YouTube of our college and share the link with you. So these were important demonstrations. So do not miss it. And I request you to watch, take out time to watch it later. But our primary focus would be to allow you to go home safely. You have been very kind, very patient, very cooperative. And this can be exemplary to our students how teaching staff, your own gurus can be so attentive, and when they get into the role of student, how responsive they could be and how cooperative when it comes to their patience and everything. This is, I'm going to quote this as an example to all my classes in future. It was a wonderful audience and we were really honored to have you all with us. Now the topic that I have selected is something which our organizers have planned to keep at the end, because we are aware many faculty, many resource persons have spoken about it. So there are a number of things that are being spoken, but the question arises, how are you going to implement it? Whether it is just a dream, a story, or it can be converted into a reality. So my attempts and efforts would be to convince you that these dreams, these stories can be converted into reality, and such ecosystem can actually be created in your own institution with your efforts and stakeholders' efforts. So there are certain interactions that I am expecting in this session. We all are teachers, we like to speak also. So let us interact and let us try to learn this topic ourselves with some brainstorming. So we are going to start with basic things like you all have been talking about the research. So little organized way to think about research, organized way to think about innovation, its relationship and importance in the industry. Then this ecosystem, what does it imply? And when this entire seminar has a theme of ecosystem, what is it and how can we implement it? That is going to be my primary goal for this session. And the stakeholders, yes, teachers are very important stakeholders. Our institute, our leadership, our management comes at the helm of it. We also have government with us, so policies, and of course our students who have to, our policies and our actions should motivate them to perform. So we want to touch upon our roles and how we can align with government initiatives. So the question that starts with is, what is research? So what is your take on research by now? Let us discuss. It is not a question. I have no authority to ask question to my colleagues. It is just a discussion. What is our take on research?
Any gap in the existing literature?
Very good. So probably she is trying to refer to unmet need. When there is a gap, there is something which is not done, right? Okay. What else? Sorry? Okay. So ma'am is coming, she is a hardcore industry person. So she is talking about troubleshooting. So it can be troubleshooting in the process, troubleshooting in the product. But basically we are trying to improvise the performance of it in terms of research. Anything else?
Technological development.
Yes. So you will not get the improved performance unless there is some development. So we have identified the unmet need. We are trying to develop a technology to meet the unmet need, and we are trying to troubleshoot the presently available technologies, processes, products, and that becomes overall a research, right? So I would define it this way: it is an organized and systematic way of finding answers to the question. So basically there has to be some question we call it as a problem statement, and we are going to work very organized in a very systematic way to find out the answer to it. And we heard from Dr. Mandar that it is about finding the unmet need, making a hypothesis, then designing the experiment, analyzing the data, drawing a conclusion, and making some improvements, and that cyclic process he referred as a research. But basically we heard that unmet need is important. Dr. Sunaina also mentioned about it, and then when Harsha Madam asked this question, Dr. Mandar said that you can go for a WHO website and you can get some demographic data from there. You can also see the regulators' website like UK, MHRA, then US FDA or TGA of Australia, and you come to know what is going on internationally, whether there is similar development happening around, and is there any unmet need that is being targeted. So for doing it, you require resources. So it is in terms of materials. You have to mobilize these resources, right? The method, money, time, personnel, and you have to apply it very systematically to produce significant knowledge out of it. So that's research. And then my next question would be, what is innovation? We have discussed again a lot about innovation because that was the central theme of today's webinar. This ATAL seminar, sorry. What is innovation is, Dr. Chandekar?
It is something which is not known in the public domain.
Yes. So something which is not known, okay. But do you know that innovate is evolving? The genesis is a Latin word innovare, and that innovare is nothing but renew. So they are talking about renewing of processes, technology, and this renewal, why we are doing? Because ultimately we want to improve upon the quality and we want to again satisfy the unmet need. So innovation is a process by which a domain, when I say domain, we are talking about a specific therapeutic area in pharma industry, a product or a service is renewed and brought up to date by applying new processes. So a lot of examples were given about new processes. So introducing new techniques. So if we talk about the technology development, cloud computing, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, these are all new technologies that are coming up, right? And establishing successful ideas to create new value. So ultimately, remember, when we are in the pharma industry, our ultimate goal is to create some new customer value proposition, which is going to improve the quality of life of a customer or it's going to solve the problem in the community. So that is what is innovation. And further, Dr. Mandar spoke about certain approaches to the innovation. It can be just incremental, but unfortunately there are 90% innovations today which are revolving around the incremental innovation. Me too. Maybe just following the innovator, that is me too. Then breakthrough. So see, he also spoke about anti-diabetic category. So DPP4 category or SGLT2 inhibitor category. These are all breakthrough researches in the anti-diabetic area. Disruptive. That is, you are creating a new orbital and you are creating a new space. So totally, you have changed the dimension and you have created a new space. That is disruptive. So these are the innovations, and as we Dr. Dandekar said, there is a process improvement. So this is what is required when we talk about commerce. Any process which is going to give you even 0.5% increase in the productivity, that becomes a better process and that is going to give you economical benefits. So process optimization, process validation, continuous improvement, that comes under the process innovation. Product development, so Me Too category also comes under this, plus some new technology which is more patient compliant, more safe and cost effective, and service innovations. So service, what is that which is not covered under service? We are into service industry, right? We are giving education, hospitality industry, the Make My Trip, Airbnb, just name it. There are so many services available there. Transportation, Ola, Uber, then banking, accounting, so many services. But these services are constantly getting evolved. They are getting improvised to have a unique value proposition for the customer. And business model innovation. So these models, business models, they are generally platform technologies. It's a platform where the seller and buyer is coming together and they act as the platform provider is just acting as aggregator, and that model is working so well. Just think about Make My Trip. On that platform, you have the hotels, you have the airlines, you have the food industry, for the accommodation, say resorts, and you have the customer, and that becomes a service. So that becomes a business model for them. Or we are using this service for transportation. What is it called? It is not transportation. The courier service. Be fast. Isn't it a disruptive? Somebody has thought that I should be able to cook something fresh and I should be able to deliver it to my near and dear within 1 hour time. And you have a quick fast service, that Be Fast service at your door. So you just put in the app, put the delivery address and just give some rough estimate about the cost of the product. You get the cost for the delivery and you believe me, within 1 hour, somebody has received what you wanted to sell. Sometimes it is getting misused also. So my daughter is in her office and her professional meeting, she was not aware. So she will say, Mama, quickly in half an hour I should get a blazer. You sent it. So I said, Arey, you don't plan it. You should have kept one extra set. Na? So that's other side of it. Our young generation is going to misuse these avenues available. We used to be very planned. We never miss on anything of that sort, and we used to have forecasting for it. But yes, I'm talking about these business models which are disruptive. So research and innovation in pharma industry, it is all about, when we talk about pharma industry, we know it is a basic research, vis-a-vis applied research. So basic research, we have scientists in our room who are working in the drug discovery and development area. So drug discovery, that becomes lead target optimization, target validation, lead optimization, that becomes a very much basic research. And applied research, we are applying it by converting it into a product which is patient compliant. So when we talk about this, you will not believe in 1980s, companies used to follow the academicians for making a model which is going to be a business model for them. You will not believe it, but this was the fact. And lot of patents or lot of ideas were coming up from the universities. So why that was happening? Because university were hiring the research scholars, and these research scholars had a great track record of innovative research, lot of publications, good citation, and so lot of breakthrough research was happening from the university. So companies like Merck adopted this academic model and they showed a lot of patents and they converted it into corpus. So that is what is the importance of this basic research, which ultimately is going to give you a lot of patents and a lot of financial gains. And now I am coming to that very important terminology, ecosystem. We have been using it left and right, but what is it officially? So ecosystem is a loosely interconnected network of companies and other entities that co-evolve capabilities around a shared set of technology, knowledge or skills and work cooperatively and complementary to develop new products and services. So what I am trying to say is, when you are generating an ecosystem, first you have to find out the people who have a shared ideas and goals for that particular concept, that business or that particular product. So once these brains come together, then so objective is clear that I want to have some disruptive solution for this problem that we have identified. But skills and knowledges could be different. Somebody is very good technologist, somebody is very good synthetic chemist, somebody is very good patent related expert, somebody can be a good marketeer, but their objective is common, that we want to make this product a successful product. So they together will come and create that ecosystem, and then there is going to be some dependence of these people on each other. when it comes to their knowledge and skills. And remember, the life of that ecosystem is going to be dependent upon these people and their ability to be having full conviction about this idea and ensuring that they will consistently put in efforts to convert it into a successful business. So they have to have a lot of cooperation, and there is going to be complementariness. You are not going to be all-rounder, your skill sets are going to be complementary, but that is going to give you a robust life to your ecosystem. So having spoken that, we have various ecosystems. So business ecosystems is focusing on creating customer value. The knowledge ecosystem is generating a new knowledge, and innovation ecosystem has both the knowledge and exploitation in terms of business ecosystem. So when you want to develop a very robust and successful ecosystem, what do you need? Of course, you need a human capital, human resources who are committed to particular objective. You require funding support, but funding cannot be just the primary requirement. The passionate people and the team is a primary requirement. You require the goods, material, software, hardware, and you require a platform which will enable all of you to work together. So, if I talk about this particular ATAL incubation, ATAL trainings that is going on, so AICTE has created a platform, isn't it? So that the organizing institute, the resource persons, the faculty members, they have come together. And that is how we have to create a platform that enable all stakeholders interact with each other, and the environment that rewards creativity, experimentation and risk taking. Why this is important? Because there is going to be a risk and there is a chance of failure, and we have been repeatedly learning that failure is going to make you learn a lot, how not to go ahead with that particular way. So you don't want a partner so want to discourage you कि क्या बकवास idea है और हमेशा आपका idea fail होता है, no more idea. Not that kind of environment. Very conducive environment which is encouraging you to take risk, calculated risk, but not repeating your mistake, and making you, giving you a free hand to be more creative and converting your ideas into experimentation. So now I'm talking about the academic scenario. Now we know what is research, what is innovation, and what is research and innovation ecosystem. Now let us talk about us, academic institutions. So what are we going to do? Do we have some resources? We have very good resource and important resources, and that is intellectual capital. We have our faculty members, we have our students who have a fertile brain, lot of ideas are coming out, plus they have a super basic knowledge, especially we faculty members. We have a very good base of knowledge, and we are going to use it in an innovative way, right? And we are also going to allow the stakeholders to get in direct contact with the industry or other innovative partners so that we can generate this ecosystem. So then when we talk about the partner, the first thing that comes in our mind is industry. And we always say that industry institute linkages are important. Why do we say that? Because by now we are convinced that it is a very much symbiotic relationship. Why symbiotic? Because when it comes to institution, lot of benefits through this collaboration. Our students are going to get professional exposures, so industry relevant research is going to happen in our premises. We are going to have opportunities for patent. They can be joint patents, no worries, but there will be an opportunity for the patent, publications, yes. Funding for basic research, industry is going to help you by funding, and industry ready professionals. That's our ultimate aim, We may have very good innovation, we may have very good research, but we cannot forget our primary duty. Primary duty is to make sure that our students have got a great career in front of them as an entrepreneur or as an industry professional. So we are making them ready for their job. What industry is getting? So industry is getting a lot of ideas that are coming from the institutions. So Covishield, that vaccine has come from the research at Oxford University, which was then out-licensed to AstraZeneca. And AstraZeneca then out-licensed it globally to various countries. In India, it had come to Serum Institute of India and they made a big profit out of it. But what was the originator of the Covishield? Academicians, no? Oxford University. So industry is getting a lot of ideas from the academicians. They are aware that there is a sound knowledge base that is coming from the universities and financial benefits. So initially they will be supporting your research, right? Because we need some funds. But ultimately, when it is a joint patent and that research is really a disruptive and industry wants to actually commercialize it, they want to offer you क्या चाहिए आपको royalty चाहिए या equity चाहिए. So we may say कि equity means big deal. We need to follow up and keep track. So let us get satisfied with royalty. थोड़ा बहुत पैसा हम लेंगे और patent is all yours. So that is how industry just hires or buys that patent from you, and that becomes their own property, and they make great business out of it. So this is the smart approach of the industry to be within academics and flourish in their business. So that's a symbiotic relationship or association that we are referring to. So what is our role in the academic institution in developing the innovation system? So this role is being talked in a big way by whole globe, not just in India. Every country believes that academic institutions are going to be the game changers and they are going to really help us to prosper and to innovate. So education is going to provide a human capital for innovation. Then knowledge co-production for private and public value creation is possible, and the technology transfer to multi-actor co-creation and embedding strategic information. We heard what is strategy. It is about better performance, the plan to have a better performance, that is the strategy. So this strategy for better performance which will embed the innovation. Now, see, you will all agree with me, we can have lot of plans and we can really talk great about it, right? Universities, national government, they can make lot of policies, nationally, internationally. But the real crux of it, of transferring it into benefit, lies on implementation of it. If these big things are not implemented, they remain in the paper and it has just a cosmetic value. So how do we implement it? Is it just a museum piece or it is possible that in our own institution we can implement it? Let's talk about it. So yes, this is all initiatives we are taking, but we have to be little more focused now, and there has to be inner awareness, a deeper awareness. Why am I doing it and what is the ultimate goal of it? Okay, so with that awareness we are going to now take every action, and it is not going to be a random action. There has to be some gap analysis and we are going to focus on that gap and take actions. So when we talk about research and linkages, so develop your own expertise. So Dr. Ladha, he developed his expertise in isolation and purification, right? And then he has made a business now. He has his own company, Yuka. They are making markers, and industry is going there when they want the marker in a cost of effective way. He has created that particular skill for isolation and purification. So company like Godrej has given him product for hair dye using henna, Lawsonia enormis, the Lawson is extracting out of it. He gave so many examples. So that is what is required. You create your niche area. You create some area where you have expertise or some facility which is really classified. It could be as simple as you have a rheology liquid viscometer, but you have a facility for finding out the viscosity of 1 ml of formulation. The industry doesn't have it. There is few players will come to you. When they come to you, it is your job to keep them attached with you. Okay? So that is how you can develop these linkages. You can have interdepartmental linkages. So now we are very much convinced we are not going to work in silo. Personal problems apart, but when it comes to subject matter, we are going to pool our strengths. And we are going to have in-house translational team, a drug discovery person, a formulation, the animal testing expert, and probably somebody who is, I don't know, we do not have marketing knowledge, but analysis, yes, analysis, how can I forget, analytical expert. So that is how, interdepartmental collaboration is a need of an hour. And of course, grant which will be required for our research, which will help us through linkages. Curriculum-based innovation. So innovation, it is not just a regular routine delivery of curriculum, because people criticize PCI. But what they have done by giving just one syllabus. But we are forgetting that the delivery is in our hand now. So make it more innovative while delivering it. Also, it is not enough that we restrict to the syllabus, but we actually develop a curriculum whereby there is lot of enrichment activity. So think about that, introduce it. So that you have experiential learning, participatory learning, live projects, so problem-based learning, case studies. So you have to always identify the fast learners, slow learners, and have methodologies and pedagogies to satisfy their needs. Conferences and workshops, develop some add-on programs, and ensure that students get and teachers get updated about the knowledge. Idea creation, which is also important. So have that platform whereby you can have a hackathon kind of activities. Like BS College of Pharmacy has technology showcase activity, we have ignition activity. These are all idea generation activities, competitive events. So have some similar kind of platforms, and you can also invite the innovators to your institution. Incubation cell, the incubation center, I'm going to talk something extra more about it, because government has a total now focus to create the innovative culture among all academic institutions across the country. They are not wanting us to work in a same conventional way. They want to totally change our focus and our outlook. So they are talking about incubation cell and incubation center, and how to generate the seed fund for that. Infrastructure development, which is required for implementation. So research facility you have to develop, and also library facility you have to develop, and you require the policies. So there are 100 things that are going in our college. We have our academic commitments, administrative commitment, then also you have to do research, no? And then also you have to come up with good patents. So you need to have policies in place so that there is some kind of possibility of going ahead with these new initiatives. How do you incentivize it? How do you make the time available? Whether you have a sufficient teaching staff so that no one is overloaded and they're getting extra time to look into this kind of research. So that is what is required when it comes to policies and proper implementation of expectations by the regulators. And of course, whatever internal policies that we are developing, try to align them with the national directives. Okay, that is important. So these are our important stakeholders: institutions, teachers, learners, industry, and government. And teacher, we all. So what we say is that it starts from the top. You know, Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. So here Raja is not principal. Raja is your management. So whether your management has that vision, what is that vision? Are they just satisfied by filling the seats and getting adequate revenue out of it? Or they have a vision to create that innovative ecosystem. So deliberate, brainstorm with your management and create that vision statement, which is very dynamic and which is giving the clear directions to move, and that is towards the research and innovation. So very clear, well-defined vision and mission statement, and management totally supporting to this vision statement. Then we are creating the ecosystem or a culture by providing infrastructure, providing a budget, that is main constraint. So every time you cannot be dependent upon some external funding body, right? So as a management, they have to earmark some budget for the innovation, for the research, and for every department that budget allocation is required. Incentivizing the innovation. It can be just by giving some small trophy or a good certificate that you are the best innovator of this year. That motivates any good teacher. And of course, policies, which is making it practical to do research and innovation along with your basic duty of teaching. So industry also is required here, but this industry should have lot of trust in you. So एक problem statement देते समय 10 लोग चीजों की coding करके देंगे, so that's not the trust. So that bond of trust is required between you and the industry, and that is going to help in participation of industry in managing framing the policy, the document, the agreement, and also that will help in grooming our students. So always remember, you alone cannot commercialize any product or any patent that you have developed. So you need to license it out. So you need to have some partner with you who's interested in taking it out and taking it forward to the clinical stage, right? So we are not going to think about some licensing of institutions, own research, licensing it out to the industry partners, and for that joint patents are required. We never thought about trademark, but now Dr. Nagarsekar madam talked about Leciplex, Dr. Paradkar spoke about Effershield, Effershine. So why we do not have our own trademark? So whatever you are developing, protect it and also have a good trademark to it. And then find out the person who is working into that area, the industry who is interested in that technology. License it out and make a profit to yourself and to your institution. And institution will have a policy of sharing of this particular revenue that you are going to get through your intellectual property. And activities will be in aligned with the comment. I have already spoken about it. So, where we spoke about pre-incubation center and incubation center, the basic difference between these two concepts is that in pre-incubation center, your research, your idea is just at the ideation stage, and you are making experimentation to convert it into prototype stage. So, journey of your product from ideation to prototype is restricted to pre-incubation. But pre-incubation is not self-sufficient to give you support to convert it into a commercially viable product. For that, you require a little bigger ecosystem, and that is called as incubator. So incubator is the one which is another platform which is providing the stakeholders, which is bringing all stakeholders together for mutual benefits. I will say mutual benefits, because when there are financiers, somebody like venture capitalist is not going to finance you without understanding the commercial value of that particular project, because ultimately they want the equity for it. Yes, if you have angel investors, they may not be just thinking about the returns, they will just support you wholeheartedly as their social drive. The point is that you need to have all these on your board, whether you have financiers, you have mentors, you have a technology expert, you have a patent expert, you have some marketing expert, and do you have the accounting expert? Because we pharmacists are not so good at accounting. It is not that we cannot learn, because earlier I used to feel accounts is not my cup of tea. But then my accountant, 10 years back, I had a very good accountant, and suddenly resigned. And one more person was there who used to work with, that accountant used to work under that person. That she also resigned. So two important resources suddenly left. And I was really in a fix. मुझे तो कुछ accounts का था नहीं, अभी मैं क्या करूँ? So my mentor, we have a coordinator, Das madam. She said she was at US. She just wrote one sentence in mail. Supriya, don't worry, accounts is not a rocket science. You can learn it. So I tried to understand what is the balance sheet, what is asset side, liability side, how do you adjust it, and then what is recurring and non-recurring expenditure, how do you calculate depreciation, and what is that surplus and deficit. And I realized it is not difficult. It is actually not a rocket science. But having said that, I know that I do not still have expertise in it, because it is not about just straightforward budget, but it is also about making some projections, having some business model, having some assessment about my competitors and the kind of research that is going on around, and having its impact on my balance sheet. Because Mandar Kodbole again said he had a itraconazole with 65 mg, and he thought he's going to draw $1 billion business out of it, but he missed that isoconazole was getting developed. So that was not a skill of accounting, by the way. But I'm just trying to say that is what is boiling down eventually. What is going to be your surplus? Whatever you have invested, what is the return on investment? You need to have a smart guy who will explain you about this accounting. And that is what is your incubation. And there are a number of ways that you can, you can support, the incubator can support the innovator in a lot of ways. And if you are interested in understanding that model of incubator, then visit IIT Science. IIT Sign will organize some visit to you if you take appointment with their CEO, Poini Bhatt. She's very cooperative and very accessible, and if you spend couple of hours there, you will understand that incubator model very thoroughly. Yeah, and then you can definitely give suggestions to your management that we have possibility of creating such incubators. We have one more incubator which is doing really well and not as old as Sign also. They must be 3 or 4 years old. That is Riddle by Somaya College. They are also really doing well. So one student started it, and then the management had full faith in him, and now he has created it into a very good setup, converted it into a good setup. So idea, then that is it requires planning. Business planning is very important, and जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, accounts is not our cup of tea. There is one more tendency for we technocrats. Our tendency, what is that? Marketing is not our cup of tea. But stop thinking that way. Because unless you are a good marketeer, you are not going to succeed even as a teacher. Because your topic also you have to sell to your students now. So you need to have that skills to convince them that whatever you are saying, it is really have a meaning and it's going to give you some kind of outcome, right? So when it comes to the market, the industry, Indian market, lot of things you need to know. Because it is a very vast market. So you cannot have a product which is focusing on the entire market. So there comes market segmenting. What is going to be a segment? Pediatric, in pediatric, which is that group, or pediatrics don't understand, so their mocks are your market segment. Yeah, if it is a pediatric product, then who are your competitors? Who are the innovators who are working in this area? What are going to be your projections for next 3 years? And what are the funding resources available? So that is how marketeer thinks, and that is how your business strategy is getting developed. So you need to have an entire business canvas in front of you when you want to walk into the journey of a startup. So think about it and have partners. I know that you alone cannot work in that area, but remember, you may not be expert in that area, but you should have basics of it. Unless you know the basics of it, you will not be able to hire right strength into your group, right? So that much basic you should have. So now this is just not in marketing, but in every scenario. So as a guide also, you should know basics of analysis. You should know basics of animal studies, so that students cannot take you for a ride. Yes, advances you can learn with the help of your colleagues. So coming to plan this particular ladder, you have ideas and planning, then product development, where you have prototyping, product market test, seed funding, then market development. So much importance is given to market. Just have a look at it. So business development, market strategy, interfacing with SPU. What is SPU? Any idea? Somebody said it?
Strategic.
Yes. Strategic business unit. So a simple example, LG products you are aware of. So that's the strategic business unit. So under same parent company, there are subsidiaries and various technologies available. So they sell refrigerator, they sell television, they sell AC and all. So they become a SPU. So interfacing with SPU and scaling up, that is market development, and launching it, going to the market, internal and external marketing, PR. So PR is a word, which I am very much scared of, because I think most of us who are genuinely good researchers are lacking that PR skill. So hire those people who will help you in PR, public relations. So role of the teacher. We are talking about now, we studied enough about incubator. Now coming back to the implementation of research and innovation ecosystem, what are we going to do as a teacher? So we are generating the ideas, we are influencing our students to think deeply, out of the box thinking. We have knowledge of policies and granting agencies. Problem solving approach is very important. So attitude matters. So if you have attitude, focusing just on problem, you will always say it is feasible, but you will never say it is possible. That is the language difference that we will observe. So have that solution-oriented problem. See, problem will always be there, but I have a solution. I can find out a solution. That attitude matters, and expertise in respective domain. So just think about your domain and have expertise there. I really don't encourage that jack of all trade, master of none approach. There should be one area where you have actually the expertise, and develop that expertise by continuously updating your knowledge in that area. Market awareness, please don't miss on this. as a teacher, linkages, so interpersonal skills are important, and linkages, networking skills are also equally important. Though we are teachers, we have to learn these skills, and expertise in respective domain. I mentioned about it, role beyond the classroom, and innovative ambassador. I will speak about innovative ambassador concept and vision for innovation and positives. So you should always dream for some innovation that you are going to come up with. So that kind of desire to innovate, that is required, right? So what is the role of a learner? They are generating idea because we are motivating them to do so. They are building sound knowledge base, they are expanding it, updating it, and they also have a progressive vision and positive attitude and role of the industry. So they are giving us a problem statement. No, Indira madam spoke about troubleshooting. So sometimes problem statement can come from the industry, not to you, and that can be their role. Or they will help you in funding. They will also give you infrastructure support. So you want to scale up now. You want to use GMP compliant equipment. So you need that state-of-the-art facility. Industry will have advisory role. All of us are aware of that. Because I'm sure in your governing body, in your college development committee, in your departmental advisory board, and maybe in your back committee, you must be having industry representatives. Not only that, maybe in anti-ragging cell or women development cell, you will have some NGOs, some industries which represent NGOs. Yeah, so advisory role is very important. Of course, incubation center where you require the advisors. Then identifying the area of collaboration and identification of the institute. So they also keep on hunting, for the institutes which can collaborate with them. So you need to have that niche, that knowledge, that expertise in a particular domain, and you have to sell it off. How? By visiting the industry and telling them, this is my expertise. Are you interested? If you are, please come here. We have a solution to it. So this outreach is very important. Financial support to startups and research projects. So yesterday the speaker, Dr. Sauganda, what did she speak about? She spoke about the product where Indian Oil is investor. So that is they are investing as their CSR funding, right? So that is the support for the startup that industry would try to extend. And CSR is allowing it, provided that particular startup is working in the area of community-based problem. Then probably industries, that particular funding will be approved under CSR. Then imparting profits, CSR, I am sure you all know about it. So imparting professional training. So why do we have guest lectures, workshops? Why do we have such type of programs? We want to get trained by the professionals. By the way, when we speak about AICT Gazette, the Gazette, Government of India Gazette, that is floated in September 2019. It talks about the promotions and direct recruitment of teachers. And when it comes to promotion, there is one recent circular which has come from the AICT, and that is referring to that particular GR. It is not Gazette, the GR of September 2019. And what it is saying, that earlier they had given you, if somebody is getting promoted, for this promotion there are mandatory things required. The industrial training, the faculty development program that you have attended, and then the other patrons publication, etc. So that compliance was required. So the time period was given only up to 22. But then there were representation that there was a COVID and people did not have enough opportunities for industry, going to industry and getting themselves trained. Also faculty development programs and all, it was not possible for everyone to attend. So now they have extended this date up to 24. Okay? But the point is that each one of you have to read that circular, 19 September 2019 circular, and read what are the requirements, eligibility for various higher posts, and what is the eligibility for career advancement or promotion, and try to fulfill it. So faculty development program, which is sponsored by such organizations, can be one of the requirements, but industrial training is something that we should not miss out. So I thought about mentioning it because we are talking about the role of the industry. Their role is in imparting professional training. So those who have already worked in the industry, no worries, you don't have to bother about it. But they are saying that every 3 years you have to undergo that training. So probably for them who have 20, 30 years of experience, also they have to show proof after 3 years I have undergone the training. Okay, so that's sometimes paradoxical, but it is a fact. So knowledge sharing approach will come from the industry, role of government. So I am really very much impressed. I am not a political person and I do not support any party, but I support good work. So what is happening at central level? No? They are fostering this innovation and ecosystem. I am highly impressed. And I was talking about implementation. People speak a lot, but whether it is getting implemented. But the speaker, Dr. Smita Shukla, was sharing with us that Prime Minister's office is extremely sensitive about it, how that national education policy will be implemented. So what are they doing? Every month a circular, a notice is coming to every state government, and they are collecting the data from each state government as to what percentage of institutions have become autonomous, what percentage of institutions are registered under academic bank of credit, whether a multiple entry exit is followed, how many of the institutions have gone for qualification framework, the higher education qualification framework. So that data they are collecting. How many have brought Indian knowledge system into their curriculum? So that percentage. So what is happening, government is pressurizing on universities, and every university vice chancellor is getting a notice from the state government education department to give us the data. And then government, universities in turn sending circulars to affiliated colleges and collecting the data from us. But they are encouraging us to move on as per the NEP expectations. So this is what is called implementation of policy. National Education Policy 2020 is not going to remain in the paper. There are taskmasters who will ensure that it gets converted into the actions. So government plays that role when it comes to influencing the institutional plans by taking initiatives, Startup India, Make in India, Skill India. We all have heard about it, and I have got very high regards for Ministry of Education's innovation cell. Why so? Couple of things I will mention about it, and their policies. So National Education Policy, that ESCO, NEP, and National Innovation and Startup Policy. Dr. Arida is the right person to speak a lot about it because she has created that policy for us. BS College of Pharmacy, ranking bodies. So why ranking? Not just because they want to have unhealthy competition, but because they want to incentivize our performance, right? So they are saying, work in the domain of innovation, and we are giving you a ranking of institutions for innovation, innovative achievement, IR ranking. Just have a holistic growth, and we are giving you NRF ranking. Do good linkage, create linkages with the industry, and we are giving you AICTE ranking. Have an institutional innovation cell and show the performance, and we are rating you with some stars, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and highest 5-star. So these ranking bodies are not to be criticized. They are there to incentivize us, right, and differentiate us from the others. So I don't know whether BNCP people are here, but their college is consistently remaining among top 50. So that's a big thing, So that is how you can get differentiated from other institutions. So Ministry of Education's innovation cell, I said I have a very high regard, but you will also be developing that regard once I speak about next 3-4 slides. So what is their objective? Their objective is to focus on creating complete ecosystem which will foster the culture of innovation across all educational institutions. For them, all institutions across the country are same. दिल्ली में फोकस या पब्लिक यूनिवर्सिटी में फोकस ऐसे नहीं है. Every private institution also is being encouraged to do it. So Dr. Ajay Jere and Dr. Deepan Sahu, they are passionate people, and I would advise you to just log in to YouTube channel for Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell and go on listening to wonderful talks that are available there. And similarly, you can also log in to Ministry of Education's YouTube channel. And very recently, for during this Teachers' Day, that is from that week of Teachers' Day, from 3rd September to 7th September or 9th September, this Ministry of not Ministry of Education, UGC, they created one program called as Shikshak Parva. So again, you visit the YouTube channel of UGC. And day 1, day 2, day 3, up to day 7, all programs, their videos are available. They are not very long programs, but these are national level people, and their educationists, they are policy makers, they are VCs, and they have spoken about it in such a realistic terms. You will now not see that you can't relate with what they are saying. So I would really be happy if my all colleagues take out time and listen to those videos, you yourself will get so much inspired and you will come to know what is tomorrow's direction to move and how the entire paradigm is changing so rapidly, it is changing. So I am talking about this innovation cell. They also have a YouTube channel and they also have a lot of new schemes and a lot of videos which explain about the schemes. So what is the objective? To create the innovation culture. And so they want the idea generation, pre-incubation, incubating and graduating from the incubator as a successful startup. I already told you, when you are up to prototype stage, you are in incubation, pre-incubation, then you are going to incubate in the incubator. As a startup company, you will register yourself as a startup company. And once you are successful, you graduate from there as a successful startup. So that is what is the journey. And designing ranking system, that is Ministry of Education's another agenda to identify institutions in the forefront of innovation. So now we are a little bit, sometimes we grip by saying always IIT, NIT and IIM sky ही रहता है नाम हमारा तो नहीं रहता है. But now if you see the 4-star rating institutions, you will say people like us are also capable of getting 4-star rating. It is possible. It is not just the domain of only the public universities. So just take a look at this. So Ministry of Education is going to work closely with higher education institutions to encourage the creative energy of our student population to work on new ideas and innovation and to promote them to create startups and entrepreneurial ventures. So there are some initiatives of Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, Yukti, the National Innovation and Startup Policy, Kalam program for IP literacy and awareness, and Innovation Ambassador. So this is the website for the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell. So see all these initiatives, can you see here? You have hackathons. So see so many hackathons, Smart India Hackathon, Singapore India Hackathon, Samadhan, Drug Discovery Hackathon. There is a UP, Startup Policy, Kapila. So all these programs and a lot of announcements that keep happening on this website. So when you are you have a habit of going through the websites for the funding agencies, please take out some time to visit the website of Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell and try to create in these institutions innovation council in your own institution. You will get a lot of pointers when you read. This is quite self-explanatory. Listen to all YouTube programs that they have delivered in the past, and then your mindset will be developed towards it. UT, what is it? UT 2. So that is the initiative to connect the startups from the academic institutions with mentors, trainers, and providing the outreach and facilitating the connect with the potential investors. So this is another problem that we always keep on talking about. कैसे पहुंचे हम investors? कौन हमें पैसा देने वाला है? How they will come to know about our research? World is so big, country is so big. First, the small institution in a small corner of Mumbai. So how they will come to us? So government has created a platform. The platform of aggregator where institution can register. They can log in, they can register. The investors are going to register. The sponsors, the industries are going to register, and that is how they will be visiting each other. They will approach you if they are interested in your idea, and your journey is going to be easy there to convert it into commerce. So to help in fostering the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in our education institution, as mentioned by Union Ministry of Education during the launch. ये सब launch कब हुए पता है? COVID में. That period was September 2019, October 2019. So people nothing can stop anybody from working if they have that passion and dream to take the next step and do something which is really a breakthrough for the country. So that is what is done by Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. So they are trying to provide the outreach to the industry, and they are helping us to connect with the potential investors, and they are going to help in fostering the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in every education institute, as mentioned by the minister. So here are small innovations that are illustrated. It's a pressure for small farmers, or exercising tool for arthritis. This startups like you and me have made, and this is something now called contactless waste bin. So the technology called Arduino that is being spoken about a lot now. Google out what is Arduino technology. It is about that kind of platform, electronic platform of hardware and software which converts your inputs into outputs. Suppose your input is just in terms of focusing a laser beam, then output will be that the motor will start running. Suppose your input is just have a motion there, the output will be that lamp will be lit. LED lamp will be on. Suppose your input is like just having one message in the Instagram or Twitter, then output will be published to hundreds of people whom you have contacts and network. So that is that Arduino board, and you read about it because that is also going to be a great business model, a kind of a tool that is available to generate the business models. So this site, Yukti, just have a look at. Very interesting site. So see, they have Yukti National Innovation Repository. See, such a big word, National Innovation Repository. A system of building repository of ideas, innovations and startups from academic institutions and nurturing for scale-up. What is the objective? Campus to commercialization. That's a C2C, campus to commercialization. So creating a repository across the country. How they are going to do? You have to register and you have to upload your innovation. Then another initiative is that UT National Innovation Challenge. What is it? A 360-degree experiential learning journey from idea generation to venture creation through intensive training, mentoring and funding support from the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. So what is it? They are helping you in creating the venture through training, mentoring and funding. Again, a campus to commercialization. What is it? NIC. And third one is National Forum for Technology Transfer and Innovation Commercialization. So what is it? A network and hub scope model for empowering higher education institutions with technology transfer knowledge, skill and capacity to facilitate commercialization of R&D. So these are the three platforms that UT has made available, and you have to log in and register and take advantage of it. Then National Innovation and Startup Policy. So I told you, everything happened in that COVID period. This was launched on 11 September 19, right? And it is a policy that is being now accepted by ICT, UGC, our state governments, and university should accept it. That is also very important because we have to have some certain concessions given to students for the attendance. Don't cut their marks because their attendance is not 75%. We should give concession to teachers if they have a startup. Then some part of the time that they are going to involve in the startup, convert it into their workload. Correct? Give them some provision for the study leave if that startup is going to really come up in a great way and try to take a stake in that startup as an institution. So students go, like promote connectivity, facilities, access they go facilities go, engage them with faculties and trainers, enable HIs to build, streamline and strengthen the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem, and be instrumental in leveraging the potential of students' creativity, problem solving, entrepreneurial mindset, and promoting a strong intra and inter-institutional partnership. Intra and inter. So you don't have to just look into your institution. So we are there to hold hand of anybody who's interested. So that is how you should have an open mindset and work together and grow together. Share your idea. So this NISP, this is also the thing which one should take a look at. So this is the NISP, the link. So see the numbers. 4,000 plus ecosystem enablers engaged in the process of NISP policy implementation in HIs. Are you one of them? 4,000 plus and on India level. 2550 educational institutions joined the NISP campaign in adopting the NISP. Are you one of them? 2600 plus faculty from HIs received training on NISP adoption and policy formulation. If you have missed it, video is available. Get yourself self-educated. 700 plus higher education institutions are in process of formulating innovation and startup policies in their higher educations. 400 plus HEIs have formed their innovation and entrepreneurship policy and action plan for implementation. We are among them. So this is how you have to get aligned yourself with all these government initiatives. Don't just ignore it because with the pretext that I do not have enough time because these are important initiatives. There is a long vision that has gone behind it. Kapila, very nice abbreviation. Kalam Program for IT Literacy and Awareness. This was launched on 15th October. That is the International Innovation Day, birth anniversary of great Honorable late Shri APJ Abdul Kalam. What is the objective? To recognize and facilitate and felicitate the intellectual property, innovation and best practices in HI. Recognize, facilitate and felicitate. That means what? They have created a platform and they told that any patent that is filed in your institution after October 2021, they have given a link and they asked you to register there. Then they are going to scan, screen, and they are going to give you support for the patent fee and examination fee. That will be borne by them. And they are identifying these institutions. And it is not just one patent that they are going to support. They can support 100 patents from one institute, provided they are producing that many patents, right? So this is how they are going to facilitate. And they are going to train you, right? So patent agent, कुछ भी मुंह मांगे फी मांगते हैं और हम लोग दे देते हैं और फिर अल्टीमेटली समझते हैं पेटेंट हो ही नहीं सकता क्यों? मतलब पेटेंट एबिलिटी क्या है वो बेसिक नॉलेज है हमने खुद को ट्रेन नहीं किया उसके लिए. So educate yourself. For that, Kalam site gives programs for UG level program. So our students should get trained before they enter into corporate. PG level program again they can get educated about patent, self-education possible. PhD level programs which our teachers can be trained about. And we should understand this basic. What is the need of IP filing? What is the mechanism and methodology involved in IP filing? Not in India but global also. That is PCT. Patent Cooperation Treaty, so international patent. What is that policy? That we should know, and we should be aware about funding, IPR, and so this Kapila is helping us in IPR awareness, funding, and IPR courses. And thus they are creating. So everywhere you see the word ecosystem. What are they trying to create? IP filing ecosystem. They are trying to create. So just have a look at this site also, very nice site. So see what they have written. Phase 3 is going on. So phase 1 कब खत्म हुआ, phase 2 खत्म हुआ, हमें समझाएंगे. Now start, be watchful and go on visiting to this site. So they are inviting nominations from HEIs across India and submit your entries by 22nd September 2022. Time has still not gone. So आपका innovation जो patent filed है वो October 21 के बाद है, so you can register that patent, right? And then there are many interesting things that are happening here. So they are also funding. So funding up to 1,000 patents. That is their agenda, right? So see, I spoke about certain programs that they have. So see, these are these programs. IPR awareness is one motto. Funding assistance. So how much? Up to 5,600 INR per application. So if you have 5 patents, then up to 25 or more than 25,000 plus, you are going to get support from this particular Kapila organization. Then IPR courses that you can conduct and economy by patent is possible. So this is the link is available for registering. So everything you have not missed any bus. You just be vigilant and tap the opportunities. So see, these are UG, PG and PhD level programs for IP awareness. Self-educate yourself. So far how many 5 patents approved for reimbursement under Kapila scheme 337. 5 patents are not even granted, but they have approved it for reimbursement. They are going to reimburse up to 5,600 per patent just for filing and for examining, right? And if you see here, they have here this data now, the colleges that are flashing that are in phase 1, hardly 10 or 12 colleges who got the advantage in phase 1. But now there is more and more awareness about it, and more players are going to take advantage of it, right? So you also should be one of them, and we also should be one of them. It is not that we are doing everything; it is applicable to us also. Innovation Ambassador is again an initiative of Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell. Do you know what is their agenda? They aim to train more than 5,000 faculty members about what? Design thinking and innovation, IPR and technology transfer, pre-incubation and incubation management, and entrepreneurship development program. So all those who have registered as IIC member, Institution Innovation Council member, they are now being trained to get themselves transformed into innovation ambassadors. So these programs are happening. In our college, including me, we all were IIC members, and we attended during COVID that 11 lecture series that they conducted, and they gave us a certificate that you are a IIC member, and then you are eligible to get to be an innovation ambassador. And lastly, national education policy. So when I am an academician, rather than academician, I am also now an administrator. And when I speak about innovation research, I need to also mention how NEP is going to help you. So NEP is going to now do the mapping. Mapping of what? Your any affiliated college as research intensive university or teaching intensive university or degree awarding autonomous college. So university is a big term now. So question comes in my mind that we have just 410. Can I be called as a university? Answer is no. You should have minimum 3,000 students. So probably we are out when it comes to our status as a research intensive university, but not completely out. We can be in the cluster. So we have to join hands with the adjacent institutions. For us, there is a great benefit. We have our own sister concern. You also may be having some institutions under the same management. They together will become a university, and that can be research intensive or teaching intensive or autonomous degree awarding in universities based on the eligibility that the policy defines. IIT, IIMs, everybody is aware of. IIT, expert into technology. IIMs, expert in management. Where there is a multidisciplinary approach, whether IIT is having, whether IIT is giving humanity expertise, or whether management is giving pharmacy knowledge, no. Then government wants now public universities which will work as Meru. What do you mean by Meru? Multidisciplinary education and research university. So these are going to be public universities, like IITs, IIMs. So what is the bigger agenda? Somebody asked, the brain drain हम reduce कर सकते हैं क्या? Yes, you can definitely arrest that brain drain by allowing people to grow into Meru. These are the international standard public universities that will be created by the government for multidisciplinary education. And optimal learning environment to support students. So matter of curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, everywhere you are going to have a support. So this is the link where you will get entire national education policy, not a very big policy. It is hardly of 66 pages, but वो पूरा नहीं पढ़ना है आपको, वो भी मत डरो. आपका job बहुत ही छोटा है. Your job is just to restrict yourself to part 2 and that too in part 2 higher education. That's it. So 33 to 46 pages उसपे mastery करो. That's your homework. Page number 33 to 46 उस पर mastery करो. You got the vision to grow. Not just for yourself but for your institution and for your management also. So I am trying to show this. I know the environment is not allowing me to stretch, but still I am stretching because if I miss you, I will not be able to transfer this kind of message to you all. That's why I am very sorry for that because I am the last person who would like to torture somebody. I am torturing you in spite of bad season. But please, if you take away this as a message and bring change in your institution, our ATAL objective is served. From my heart, I will say that our organizing committee will be happy that our objective is well served. So please go through this education policy. 33 to 46 pages can mastery karo. And you will come to know how higher education institutions are going to grow. अच्छा, so faculty के लिए कुछ नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है. They want faculty to be energized, motivated, capable, and they are talking about very big things, to identify the faculty excellence, excellence for academic and service credentials, as well as whether they are demonstrating leadership skills, managerial skills, and then create them a ladder to grow. Growth not just to associate professor and principal's level, national level. Take them ahead to the dean, then vice chancellor, then national level policy makers post. Create that kind of a holistic approach when it comes to motivated and energized faculty. Bring them in the think tank of government, of national agencies, and overall
work towards the progress of country. That is what the policy is saying. And I am not saying they are going to just put it, articulate and leave it. When Prime Minister's office will make sure that everything that they have said gets translated into action. I have a strong faith in that. Okay? It is not that I am a lover of any party. I like people who work, who just don't say and talk. So, catalyzing quality academic research in all fields through a new national research. So, so many funding bodies, no? CSIR, ICMR, DST, DBT, हमारा टीम जा रहा है DST को present करने को. So ये सब कहाँ? तो we need to have a one forum that is National Research Foundation. They are trying to merge all these funding bodies into National Research Foundation. Regulators, फार्मेसी तो सबसे ज़्यादा सफरर है. यहाँ पे पीजी है तो एआईसीटी को हम अप्लाई कर रहे हैं. पीसीआर तो अपेक्स बोर्ड है उसके बिना चलेगा नहीं. मुंबई यूनिवर्सिटी तो है ही एफिलिएटेड है. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट उधर बैठा है, वो भी हमें एडमिशन के लिए रेगुलेट कर रहा है. फी रेगुलेशन और so many regulators. And then our office and our teaching staff are really churned through the administration activity. So they are saying have one regulator, National Higher Education Regulatory Council. Merge everybody into that. NIRF, NBA, NAC, so many accreditation councils. They are saying merge into only one council, National Accreditation Council, NAC. Paper में भी आया था ना, UGC, Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan declared that they are going to have a NEC launched. So, Abhi, that doesn't mean you just stall your process of NAC accreditation and NEC accreditation. Please go ahead with that. But we are hopeful that very soon that NEC is going to come. And then setting a Higher Education Grant Council, then Higher Education Commission of India. These are going to be national level, unified, harmonized regulators to govern the whole country's higher education. What is the ultimate aim? Gross enrollment ratio उनको बढ़ाना है. अभी कितना है? सिर्फ 19%. Last year कितना था? 14%, 5% से बढ़ा ADP के फेज में. Where they want to reach in 2035, aim is 50%. Big jump. और कितना टाइम है आपके पास? 12 years. So every day is important, every minute is important. GR बढ़ाना है. And GR, you know, when I say 50% is the average of primary education, higher education, PG education, PhD education, उसका average होके वो 50% पे जाना लेके जाना हमको. So they are not saying कि you just focus on higher education. Schooling पर भी बहुत focus है. So our children are the beneficiaries, you know? And probably youngsters can say that our children might have gone up to graduation or maybe not graduation. I still level, I can say. Or no, Anita madam ki to beti 2 saal ki. So there are many such youngsters available. Sorry. So yeah, so you can say Anita madam, your daughter will be definitely a beneficiary because of this NEP. So effective governance and leadership for higher education institution. So for that, autonomy is the only solution. You want a governance which is effective, just relieve them from all clutches, make them autonomous, let them design their curriculum, let them create their own academic council, let them take the decisions regarding their fee structure, regarding their courses approval, regarding the teachers approval, everything. Just liberate them. That is what is called about, that is what is the crux of autonomy. So governance and leadership of higher education institutions should become autonomous. That is what they are saying. And strategic institutional development plan on the basis of institutions will develop initiatives and assess their own progress and reach the goals set therein, which would then become the basis for further public funding. So ये link आप जरूर देखो. ये जो link है ना, that is about the guidelines for transforming higher education institution into multidisciplinary institution. So we always are puzzled, no? कि multidisciplinary बहुत बार सुना, पर हम लोग convert हुए तो कैसे हो गए? Okay, क्योंकि हमारे पास तो सिर्फ pharmacy है. Multidisciplinary means what? There has to be technology, there has to be sociology, there has to be languages, there has to be mathematics, there has to be sports. There has to be dance, there has to be music. That becomes multidisciplinary. How can I become multidisciplinary university? So all solutions you will find in this guideline. I spoke about research intensive university. I spoke about teaching intensive universities. Who are eligible? How can you convert yourself into that particular type of setup? Every answer you will get in this guideline. Very recently floated by UGC. please visit these guidelines. You will have some kind of clarity about where our education is marching and what is going to be the scenario 5 years and 10 years down the line. Because by 2040, NEP is 100% implemented. मैं तो रिटायर हो जाएंगे 5 साल के बाद, बट आप लोगों को तो इस पर ही काम करना है और उस पर ही आपका पूरा भवितव्य है as a teacher and as a institution. So this gentleman, Professor R.P. Tiwari, he has thought about transforming HIs into multidisciplinary institutions, and UGC has constituted a committee under his chairmanship, and the committee has suggested multiple ways such as collaboration, then merging and cluster. I spoke about clustering, one management, 5 institutions, cluster them, form a cluster and work as a multidisciplinary, right? And then achieve characteristic of a multidisciplinary institution. So multidisciplinary teaching universities, teaching intensive and research intensive universities will be with 3,000 or more. I said that 3,000 is a minimum mandate for it, and given that in 2035 all affiliated colleges 2035 कितना 12 साल देखो आपका एज क्या होगा तब, you will be not affiliated, you will be the university part of this kind of TU or RU. Or you get a degree award in multidisciplinary autonomous institution, and it is necessary to develop a roadmap. So you can't wait for 12 years. You should have a roadmap to transform all affiliates. So पहला roadmap में आपका काम क्या होगा पता है? Permanent affiliation करो. फिर दूसरा step क्या होगा पता है? Go for a 2F query. तीसरा step क्या होगा पता है? Apply for autonomy. So ये roadmap होगा आपके institutions का. Okay? So permanent affiliation के लिए आपको NAC तो चाहिए. तो पहली जर्नी तो आपको NAC से या MBA से शुरू करनी. MBA करना है तो 50% in courses should be MBA accredited. So better option is go for NAC. Institution gets NAC. Then you can go for permanent affiliation. Then you go for 2F training. हम लोग आगे पहुंचा 2F training तक. Yes. Now we are going to apply for autonomy this year. So देखो हम 15 साल ही पुराने हो हैं, but हम लोगों के पास willingness है. हमें करना है किस करना है. Then we are not going to sleep. We will be sleepless till we achieve that goal. So that kind of vision we all share. अभी ये program की बात चल रही है ना, ATAL program की. Will you believe me if I have not, I say I have not contributed even 0.1% into it? You will not believe it, but that's the fact. So why? Because the team is motivated, ना? So मेरा काम क्या है? मेरा काम इतना ही है, give a free hand and trust their abilities. बस, मेरा काम हो गया. If they are stuck, I am there as a fallback option. I am always there. But give them free hand, and they have wonderful abilities and initiatives. छोटी छोटी चीज जो मैंने भी सोची नहीं थी, ये कवर पे मैंने आज नया देखा जो मेरे पास नहीं और आज वैलिडिटी फंक्शन में देखा ये डेकोरेशन बदल गया. So this is the micro management that team has thought of. I have not thought of it. So what I am trying to say is you have to liberate and create that environment, and you have to together work as a team. एक या 2% का काम नहीं रहता है. Entire team should get united, and for that you require that vision. That vision should be shared. So your vision that you want to go for autonomy. That's it. आज बाहर आप जाओगे तो अपने कॉलेज में एक मीटिंग लोगे और बोलोगे मुझे सर प्रिंसिपल I want to create, please sir, let us have a vision to be autonomous. So sir बोले अरे क्या हो गया? तो बोले हाँ, but ये मेरा पेपर है. Sir, let us discuss. Let us form groups. Let us have some plans, but let us work towards it. It is possible. एक 15 साल का बच्चा कर रहा है तो हम लोग तो नहीं. मेरे से भी जूनियर पीपल करते होंगे. ऐसा नहीं कि हम अकेले कर रहे हैं. So many people are doing that. Why we not? Why we can't do that? So, or of course, I am just telling you now, management has a great role to play. Our management is very supportive. मैंने इनको फ्री हैंड दिया तो मैनेजमेंट ने मुझे भी फ्री हैंड दिया ना. मुझे कभी भी so that is how you will influence management. So there is no point in telling you how should be the management. I am telling you, I am grateful to our management. We all are grateful to our management for their openness, for their positive, and specifically Shri PM Gilani sir, who has created that positive environment. He has given us a free hand. He has given us a wheelchair. He has given us a wholehearted support. So management and leadership matters that I have told you earlier. And last but not the least, this National Higher Education Qualification Framework, which was mentioned by Dr. Smita Shukla. So you were wondering what is it? So this is a link for it. So उसमें मुझे आपको वो लिंक में ना आपको एक ही चीज बतानी है, which can be of concern to all of us. So you know what is it, you know? They're talking about these levels ना 5, 6, 7, 8. So ये levels है ना वो हमें जरा bother कर रहे हैं. Because our existence most graduate programs of 2 years, we have a diploma course after 12, and then our PhD, we don't have a direct entry to PhD. So many inform branches are being created, faculties are being appointed for it. So ये क्या करेंगे हम? National Higher Education Quality Framework कह रहा है कि डायरेक्टली एंट्री दे दो पीएचडी को बीफार्म होने के बाद, क्योंकि आपका 4 years का रिसर्च इंटेंसिव प्रोग्राम है. So whether it is possible, that's the question. Because I was in a professional course. So what I observed is that none of the medical and paramedical courses are here. Then why pharmacy? Why they consider pharmacy as totally a technical course? I don't know. They always equate us with engineering. And so earlier we were under ICT. So Pharmacy Council of India is going to have a say here. And on 25th September, all principals and their senior 2 or 3 teachers are going to get an opportunity on 25th September, National World Pharmacist Day, next Sunday. Every college principal with 2 senior teachers are going to get opportunity to interact with President of PCI, Dr. Montu Kumar Patel, and thanks to Dr. Nitin Maniyar and Chemist and Druggist Association who have organized this meeting for all of us, especially colleges affiliated to University of Mumbai. And your principal along with you may go, and it is going to be 2 to 4 event. And we are going to definitely talk about this ADP and how that will be implemented when it comes to PCI's outlook, because this is something which which confuses us. So see, this is what is the program: bachelor degree with honors when you complete 8 semesters, postgraduate diploma when you have just 1 year, 2 years then with degree. But if you have 4 years graduation followed by 1 year post graduation, then you get degree and not a diploma. Then you have a PhD. So here in masters, surprisingly pharmacy is missing. They have mentioned MA, MSc, MBA, MA, ME, MArch also they have mentioned, but they have missed MPharm. Is it deliberately or accidentally? We don't know. So we had this was a draft, this is draft. So they had asked for our suggestions. So we all did an exercise. Anita madam gave a presentation to all faculty members. Every faculty member gave their ideas. Then we summarized it and we communicated it to UGC. So ऐसे तो हम लोग भी थोड़े proactive हैं. So level 5 to level 10 तक के ये stages है. So I just showed it because the speaker had spoken about it. So I don't know whether this PPT will be shared with you, but its links are very important. So I request the organizers to at least share all links with all our delegates. And this is what was the translation and research that I mentioned, Covishield. And this is one professor at IIT Madras, T.P. Pradeep, who has created an arsenic-free water which is very affordable. And that technology has reached to 0.5 millions of people. And now he has developed a technology to remove pesticide from drinking water. And that has reached to 7.5 million people. Very lot of agricultural applications. But this is a start, a professor like you and me, but see his outreach. We heard Dr. Ladda, professor like you and me, see his outreach. So everything is possible. We have to just we have to strive for the excellence. I am really thankful to you for a very patient listening. I hope I have not tested your patience. Thank you so much.
So I would like to thank
I have really tortured you. Hypoglycemic कर दिया सर.
No, madam, it was not.
So, I would like to thank our principal ma'am, Dr. Supriya Shidhaye. Starting with, of course, it starts with the vision of the management. It's really very important because that is the driving force which is ultimately going to boost and motivate you every day to think that what is our exact role apart from the curriculum that we are delivering and the research that we are doing. So ma'am gave a very elaborate description about it in the form of what should be the role of a management, what should be our role as a teacher when it comes to curriculum delivery, when it comes to research, and when it comes to looking at the overall vision, not only for the college but also at the national level. Then ma'am also emphasized on what the government is doing and something which we all agree, like just to give you an example, that when Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, when they started with various initiatives, starting with establishing an institutional innovation cell in the year 2017, they are so proactive that if you are stuck up with something, you drop a mail to them, you get a reply within half an hour, no matter how at late hours even if you message them. So they are that proactive, and it is all actually a cycle. Like, what a myth we have, like most of the people or the faculties with whom we have interacted, the myth is that, these are things just for compliance, but it is very much beyond compliance. Competition, yes, it is a driving factor for you in every field, but it is not limited to that. As ma'am explained through her talk, that even the government has a very broad vision, and in the next 15 years it is really going to change. So all the initiatives that were explained, that is the establishment of IICs, formulation of the National Innovation Startup Policy at the institute level, the Yukti initiative, the Kapila initiative, ultimately all of that, it leads to a recognition for your institute, a recognition for you in terms of where you stand in your endeavors as an academician, in your endeavors as a researcher, most importantly your endeavors as an administrator as well. So we are really blessed to have Principal Ma'am with us, that under her vision ever since 2009, our college has been a pioneer in many different ventures. We have been the first in many different activities. So we were the first in University of Mumbai to get the NBA accreditation. That then of course many colleges followed. Because of ma'am's vision, our institute is also recognized as a Department of Scientific and Industrial Research. Zero recognition we have it. We have been consistently in the National Innovation and Ranking Framework amongst the top 100 colleges, and whenever there is a slight fall, it is only because of her vision that she believes, and of course because of her we believe, that we have to implement. It is a continuous improvement process. It's not that always you are going to get the fruits of it, but when you lag behind, you have to introspect and think, that identify the gaps, what has happened because of which there is a fall, and then work on it. So implementing and taking actions, that is the mantra that all of us we have learned from you, ma'am, and thanks a lot for that. And on behalf of all the participants, and on behalf of entire VS College of Pharmacy as well, I request our one of the important and senior members of VS family. You can say she is the founder member of the college, Dr. Harsha Katwalia. I request her to felicitate ma'am with a token of appreciation.
She is our first student, PhD student of University of Mumbai. First PhD student, and she is doing a moment. I am proud.
Rather, she was my guide, and I really, because the college I'm the first faculty of this college right from 2007. But the way the college has developed ever since Madam has joined since 2009. Like I can see change in our college, so that is all because of her efforts, and of course she keeps us also on toes, so we keep on doing and contributing for the no, nothing like that, but it keeps us doing better and better every day. Thank you.
Your words are golden words. I will remember. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I request all the participants that now we will be taking a